You know that feeling after a conversation when you just feel completely drained, as if all your energy and optimism have been sucked right out of you? You are not alone. 2,000 years ago, the ancient Stoics already understood how profoundly our surroundings impact our inner peace. Today, we're not just talking about toxic people. Instead, we'll examine this issue through the lens of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us to maintain an unshakable inner strength, no matter the circumstances. I'll share 7 types of people who, according to the Stoics, can undermine your tranquility and prevent you from living a truly happy and purposeful life. And I promise you, one of these types might genuinely surprise you. First, let's be clear. Stoics like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius weren't advocating for a life of isolation. They actively engaged in public life, but they were incredibly selective about who they allowed into their inner circle. Why? Because they understood that vices and negative emotions are contagious, much like a disease. Your peace of mind is your most valuable asset, and it must be fiercely protected. Stoicism offers a straightforward understanding of friendship. It should elevate you, not drag you down. So, let's kick things off with a personality type you'll recognize instantly. First up on our list is the eternal victim, also known as the chronic complainer. This individual sees the world through a perpetual storm cloud, always hovering directly above them. Nothing ever goes right. The weather is awful. Their boss is a tyrant. They were rude at the store, and the coffee wasn't hot enough. You'll recognize them instantly. Any conversation inevitably begins with a lengthy recitation of all the misfortunes and injustices they've endured. Their life is an endless string of problems, and they'll happily share every detail with you. But here's the crucial catch. This person isn't looking for solutions. They don't want your advice on how to fix things. What they crave is different: your sympathy, your attention, your validation of their martyr status. The victim role is incredibly convenient. After all, if external circumstances or other people are always to blame, then they bear no responsibility whatsoever. There's no need to change anything. They can simply wallow in their suffering and reap the benefits of attention. From a Stoic perspective, the complainer is a true thief of your peace of mind. Stoics taught us to focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, judgments and actions. The complainer, however, does the exact opposite. They completely surrender themselves to the mercy of external events they claim they can't control. When interacting with such an individual, you risk becoming infected by their sense of helplessness. Their negative energy, like a virus, seeps into your consciousness. You begin to drain your own energy, empathizing with problems that neither you nor they have any intention of addressing or changing. Your own energy, which you could direct towards creation, simply drains into this black hole of someone else's discontent. Your task is to protect your inner peace, your fortress. This isn't a call for callousness, but a call for wise self-preservation. Next, we come to the second type, who operates far more insidiously, masking their poison as intriguing information. This is the gossiper. Their main commodity is other people's secrets, mistakes and failures. They're always up to date on the latest rumours, who's feuding with whom, who's about to be fired, or who's having family troubles. At first glance, this might seem harmless or even captivating. After all, who doesn't enjoy a juicy story? But that's precisely where the danger lies. The gossiper drags you into a world of petty intrigues and endless discussions about other people's lives. They feed on negativity and the missteps of others because, by comparison, they feel better and more significant. Engaging with them means squandering your most valuable time and mental energy on something that has no bearing on you and contributes nothing to your growth. It's like consuming informational fast food, quick, seemingly interesting, but ultimately providing no real nourishment, only leaving an unpleasant aftertaste. For a Stoic, this would be a true crime against oneself. The philosophy of Stoicism urges us to constantly turn our gaze inward, to analyse our actions and thoughts, and to work on our own shortcomings. The gossiper, however, compels you to look outward, to judge, evaluate, and discuss others. This distracts you from your primary focus, your own life, and your path to virtue. Furthermore, there's a simple rule. If someone gossips with you about others, rest assured they'll just as easily gossip about you to someone else. Trust in such relationships is merely an illusion, and every time you participate in this, you're not only wasting time but also unwittingly becoming an accomplice in destroying someone else's reputation. Now let's talk about a type of person whose life is like an endless fireworks show. But instead of beautiful lights, it's nothing but explosions and chaos. This is the third archetype, the drama king or queen. Their entire life is a perpetual drama. A minor inconvenience transforms into a cosmic tragedy. A small disagreement with a colleague becomes an epic battle of good versus evil. They live on an emotional high, and it's absolutely vital for them that you are their audience. They masterfully create conflicts out of thin air, exaggerate problems, and pull everyone nearby into their emotional vortex. Interacting with such a person is like riding a roller coaster you never bought a ticket for. Today they're on top of the world. Tomorrow they're plunged into the depths of despair. Their emotional instability is contagious. You're constantly on edge, trying to calm them down, then sharing their tumultuous joy, then acting as a peacemaker in their latest conflict. It's incredibly draining. The Stoics valued ataraxia above all else, a state of imperturbability and inner peace. They believed our emotions should be controlled by reason, not the other way around. The drama king or queen, however, is the complete opposite of this ideal. They are a slave to their passions and emotions. They feed on the attention they receive through their chaos. When you get caught up in their drama, you give them your energy and allow their chaos to disrupt your own balance. You become an actor in their play, forgetting about your own life. To protect yourself means refusing to play a part in this spectacle and preserving your peace, not allowing someone else's storm to shatter your inner calm. Moving on, the fourth type on our list is the master of crushing hopes and dampening enthusiasm. Meet the cynic and the pessimist. This person possesses a unique talent. They can find a flaw in any idea, even the most brilliant. You excitedly share a new project idea, only to be met with, "Don't even start, it'll just fail anyway." You share a small moment of joy, and they'll instantly explain why it's fleeting and why things will soon go wrong. Their favourite phrases include, "I told you so," "That's naive," and "You can't trust anyone in this world." The pessimist sees the world through perpetually darkened lenses and adamantly refuses to remove them. They see only obstacles, risks, and negative outcomes. The danger of interacting with them is that their point of view might seem realistic or even wise, but in truth, it's a slow-acting poison that corrodes your optimism and faith in your own abilities. They extinguish your inner fire, plant seeds of doubt, and compel you to give up on your dreams before you've even had a chance to pursue them. To a Stoic, this kind of life approach would be utterly foreign. Yes, they advocated preparing for the worst, but not to descend into despair. Rather, it was to be mentally prepared for any challenge and to maintain composure. A Stoic sees an obstacle not as a wall, but as an opportunity to demonstrate their strength, wisdom, and resilience. The pessimist, however, sees an obstacle merely as a reason to give up. By interacting with such a person, you risk adopting their passive and destructive worldview. Instead of looking for opportunities, you'll begin to find excuses for inaction. That's why it's so vital to guard your enthusiasm against those who try to extinguish it. Now let's move on to the fifth type, perhaps the most dangerous one, because they are incredibly hard to spot. Their words are sweet as honey, but their intentions can be as bitter as wormwood. This is the flatterer and manipulator. This individual is a master of compliments. They always say exactly what you want to hear. They admire your talents, praise your decisions, and support all your endeavours. Being around them, you feel special, intelligent, and significant. But this is precisely their main trick. Their praise isn't a sincere expression of friendship. It's a carefully calibrated tool to achieve their own objectives. The manipulator creates an illusion of deep connection and understanding to lull you into a false sense of security. They weave a web of flattery, and once you're caught in it, they start to exploit you for their own gain. This could involve asking for a significant favour, leveraging your connections, or simply offloading their work onto you. They coerce you into doing what benefits them, all under the guise of your special friendship. Before you even realize it, you'll find yourself acting in their interests, not your own. For Stoics, who valued honesty and directness above all else, flattery was one of the worst vices. Seneca wrote that flattery is the shadow of pride, corrupting both the flatterer and the one who listens to it. True friendship, according to the Stoics, is founded on virtue and mutual respect, not self-interest and deception. A true friend will tell you a bitter truth if it benefits you. A flatterer, however, will feed you sweet lies to extract benefit for themselves. Recognizing them means protecting yourself from betrayal and maintaining clarity of mind. Let's move on to the sixth type. This person might possess encyclopedic knowledge, but interacting with them isn't enriching, it's exhausting. This is the know-it-all. The know-it-all is genuinely convinced they understand every topic better than you do, and better than everyone else, of course. They have an opinion on everything, and that opinion is the only correct one. They don't engage in dialogue, they deliver monologues. They don't listen to your arguments, they merely wait for a pause to interject their wise words, correct you, or lecture you. Being around such a person means constantly feeling like an incompetent student. Any attempt you make to share an idea or piece of knowledge is met with their condescending correction, or a lengthy explanation of how things really are. In such interactions, there's no room for exchanging ideas, no mutual growth. There's only their ego and your role as a passive listener. This is both tiring and demotivating because you never feel like an equal conversational partner. For Stoics, whose philosophy was largely built upon the idea of continuous learning and self-improvement, such behaviour would be utterly unacceptable. One of Socrates' key principles, which heavily influenced Stoicism, stated, "I know that I know nothing." This acknowledgement of one's own ignorance is the starting point for true wisdom. The know-it-all, however, is closed off to new knowledge because they believe they've already mastered everything. They are incapable of learning from others, which means you won't learn anything useful from them either, except perhaps patience. A Stoic seeks conversation that enriches both participants, not a lecture that merely flatters one's ego. To surround yourself with know-it-alls is to voluntarily halt your own growth and development. Finally, we come to the seventh type, whose presence in your life is like a mirage in the desert. It seems to be there, but when you truly need them, they vanish without a trace. This is the unreliable, or fair weather friend. This person is your ultimate companion for a good time. They're always ready to hit a party, catch a movie, or grab a drink at a bar with you. They're around when things are great, when you're full of energy and positivity. Spending time with them is easy and carefree. But this light-heartedness has a flip side. Their friendship is just as light and superficial. It only exists in good times. The moment clouds appear on your horizon, the instant you need genuine support, advice, or just a shoulder to lean on, this friend mysteriously disappears. Their phone suddenly goes unanswered, or urgent matters conveniently pop up. They're not willing to share your burdens, because that demands effort, time, and emotional investment, things they never signed up for. Their friendship isn't a deep bond, but rather a mutually beneficial partnership for pleasant leisure. For the Stoics, friendship was a sacred concept. It was a bond built on virtue, loyalty, and mutual support. Seneca stated that a true friend is, in essence, a second self, someone with whom you can be completely honest, whom you trust as much as yourself, and on whom you can rely in any situation. For the Stoics, friendship was tested not by joy, but by sorrow. It's in difficult times that its true nature is revealed. A fair weather friend cannot withstand this test. Relying on them is like building a house on sand. They will let you down at the most crucial moment, leaving you to face your problems alone. But here's the most crucial and perhaps unexpected twist in this whole story. The Stoics didn't just talk about these personality types so we could identify them in our surroundings and build defensive barriers. The primary purpose of this exercise is to look in the mirror. The most vital lesson of Stoicism isn't about judging others, it's about constant self-improvement. Before you decide to cut someone out of your life, honestly ask yourself, am I sometimes a complainer? Do I gossip when I'm bored? Do I devalue others' dreams because of my own fears? A true Stoic strength isn't in building a fortress around themselves, but in ensuring they don't become one of those who destroy another's world. Recognizing these traits in others is just the first step, but eradicating them within yourself, that's the real victory and the path to genuine tranquility and wisdom. Your goal isn't to create a sterile bubble, but to become someone whose presence makes others stronger, not weaker. Your circle of acquaintances is like a garden, and you shouldn't just weed it, you should also fertilize it with your own example. Choose your friends wisely, but be even wiser when it comes to yourself. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If it made you think, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos on simplifying philosophy for everyday life. Now here's a question for you, and please answer honestly in the comments. Which of these 7 traits have you perhaps noticed in yourself, and how are you trying to work on it? Let's discuss.